rather than causing a kind of disturbance and irritation to the other candidates. So please take care of it. As I said, you are all the future masters. You are the future probably regulators. One of you will become MMD surveyor, or you might be one of the person in DG shipping in a higher position, and you would be one of the ship owners as well. So understand etiquettes. Your behavior is very, very important. Media or face to face, we should have an appropriate behavior. So let us see. Sometimes many of us don't know our behavior is causing some irritation to others because we are not seeing them face to face. So let us see them what kind of behavior we need to have with ourselves. Proper manners and behaviors online is nothing but etiquettes. Respect other people's time and bandwidth. Avoid sarcasm, humor which might offend others. Let's watch this video. All short videos. Instead of putting up talking for a longer time, this will be able to tell you exactly what you need. That's an interesting video you have seen there. Do not draw on the screen. You could see in the morning few of the people drawing on the screen. Definitely, as we all know, as we all look upon yourself as the future of the industry, as the future masters and future ship owners, please do not draw on the screens when they are doing the presentation. Same thing when your faculty is teaching you. Do not cause disturbance to the other candidates. So let us see a SWOT analysis. What is the strength and weakness? Of course, every system will have its own strength and weakness, opportunities and of this online learning. The strength is about the independence of access to time and place. You can access from anywhere. Impartiality, enhancing the individual and group participation, exposure to global standards of education. You can have a teacher from any part of the world who can teach you. And education for all enrollment of more number of students. Of course, every system will have its probably in a physical classroom. Absence of a teacher, there is a physical teacher as a mentor. Space, access to unserved online information, very good lecturing. That's what the students should be careful in the next session. They will tell you where you graduation without disturbing the work-life balance. And the student assessment, of course, could be limited. Now I can see a lot because of the quarantine absence of a teacher, and in some places after and being unsuitable for practical, but they are attending the courses. I think this kind of luxury. There are threats also when you have to come to some kind of lack of technology. Many of them are attending, are not aware of hotels where they are quarantined, and it's time saving and cost effective also. You need not travel all around the place, and education for all category of candidates. Of course, every system will have its weakness. Absence of a teacher, there's a physical teacher as a mentor. Access to unsupportive information. That's what the student should be careful in the next session. They will tell you where you will get the authentic information from. And the student assessment and feedback would be limited because of the physical absence of a teacher and a student. And being unsuitable for practical courses, probably we cannot have this system. And there are threats also. There is some kind of lack of technology. If the candidates are not aware of technology, they might get into cyber crimes and other things might damage to them. There could be some security issues. Lack of computer knowledge also will lead you to some kind of learning of a lower. So we need to improve upon this. Look at the weakness. See how you can convert the weakness into strength. So to sum up the code of conduct for candidates online, I made it like AEIOU. Of course, it's taken from the net. Google has got a number of information where you just take the information from there. AEIOU, the vowels, so that you can remember it. A is for attitude. It's for the curiosity, eagerness, and enthusiasm, how a candidate is supposed to be. E is etiquette. You should be presentable, elegant, and energetic. I is for interaction. You should have an eye-to-eye contact. Get involved in the classes with enthusiasm. You shall omit the distraction and not to be too casual, and do not pass any kind of improper remarks. And you should be unique. You should be a role model and example to all the other candidates. What not to do online? Quickly, not to discriminate. No attack on the teacher or the students. Not to form a gang and start, causing some kind of harassment. Do not gossip. No intimidation. No politics and religion to be discussed, or any sensitive topics need not be discussed here, and no self-promotion. So with this, I would end my topic on etiquette. I'm sure after reading and sitting in this lecture, all of you would have understood. Many of you would have not been aware what could cause, the kind of lack of etiquettes. So now you've seen it, and I'm sure that you all will follow in your future when you attend the courses or online anytime when you communicate. So I'm just having a couple of slides, and I would like to end this for the cyber crime. Since we are using online, we need to be careful. What is a cyber crime? Is nothing but use of a computer as an instrument to further illegal ends, such as committing fraud, stealing identities, or violating the privacy, is called cybercrime. Hacking is about criminal use of various software to enter the computer without the knowledge of the user. Probably you just download something, and then there is some kind of software downloaded to you without your knowledge, which they are trying to steal the information, sensitive information to you. Theft is nothing but violating the copyrights in which we are downloading music, movies, or intellectual property. Remember, gentlemen, anything you download from the net, if it is protected, it is amounting to theft, and it will be in accordance to the Cybercrime Act. Maybe people will take you to task, so be careful about when you do these activities. Cyber stalking, that is nothing but an online harassment of the victim. Somebody might take data from you, your email or your phone numbers from the internet, keep calling you and trying to harass you, trying to find some weak point. And phishing, an attempt to obtain sensitive and personal information from the user. So these are the types of different kind of crimes which will take place. Of course, IMO has come out with some guidelines, and you got other flag state guidelines regarding cybercrime. It is all for the bigger, for the companies and so many other activities. Probably all of you have watched a movie wherein one person takes over the entire ship, passenger ship, and then he remotely operates it. That's on a high level. We as students and for our own use, probably if you're aware of these things, I think it should be sufficient enough. What are the causes? Why people, this cause of the cybercrime is very easy to access, because they have to just come into the log on to net and come into your system. Availability of all data in one place, because you have a lot of information in one place. Somebody would like to steal the information, very easy to steal it. Complex to understand, as there are so many applications. For the person who is using his computer, we are all not so well versed with the computers. Of course, many could be there, but it is so complex that we may not understand what applications are operating how. So that is how these cybercrime people may take advantage of it. Very important, no evidence and proof of theft is there. That's the reason people will try to steal your information, because they do not leave any kind of evidence, or you cannot get any proof that so-and-so person has hacked your system. How do we protect against the cybercrime? Very, very important is, do not put your personal information onto any kind of computer, mobile phone, passwords. We are all used to it because we forget. And of course, we have so many passwords also. But very sensitive password of your bank details or other any sensitive information, please write it in a diary or in a paper and keep it safe. Do not put it in anywhere. There might be a lot of apps which are there which will tell you that you are going to protect your password. Nobody can hack it. But remember, anything will be hacked. Everything can be hacked. So there are people who study this. They call it ethical hacking or whatever. They study hacking to find where they can take it out. So please do not rely on this information. Overnight, tomorrow morning, you might get a message that your crores of rupees or lakhs of rupees in your bank has been already wiped out, and there's no evidence for it, and you might end up in deep trouble. Use strong passwords for your emails and other this one, probably alphanumerical password. So it will help you to keep it, but do not again store the password in your mobile number or with your system. It will just get hacked. So this password should be written probably in a paper or somewhere and kept it with you in a small diary. Do not download apps from unreliable sources. If you don't rely on that, do not download. That might have a lot of risk. And take a backup of all your information into some kind of other devices. There are a lot of hard drives available for a very less price. Even a 1 TB hard drive must cost you just about 3,000-4,000 rupees. Worth it. Every now and then keep taking backup, and keep your antivirus updated, so that it will help you to protect against all this. And with the last video, I would like to end up my session.
Hello, Mrs. Janaki here. I've started taking online classes for my children, and I'm already fed up. Pasanga class attend pandrangallo, all the parents come and sit in my class nicely. Especially the mothers. Correctly, when I'm starting the class, only they will decide to feed their children. That is also fine. One mother was brushing a child's teeth during my class. Now homework kaatundra, avanga amma ee kaatundranga. Mothers are far better. Fathers irukangale. Yesterday during my class, one father was roaming around without a shirt, wearing one kutti shorts. Kinkini mangini is walking. At the path, all the children started laughing. Kekka bukke. 2 hours the class. 1 hour went in kekka bukke, 1 hour went in attendance. Class over. Children notes edukkravanga uyira nalla edukranga. ஒருத்தன் வீடியோ ஆனா அவன் ஆடியோ ஆஃப், ஒருத்தன் ஆடியோ ஆனா அவன் வீடியோ ஆஃப், இன்னொரு ஸ்பெஷல் விஐபி ரெண்டுமே ஆஃப். ஐ எம் ஷூர் இஸ் பிளேயிங் சம் பப்ஜி கேம். பட் அவன் ஒன்றும் கேட்க முடியாது. ஏன் தெரியுமா? பிரின்சிபல் பத்மநாபனோட பையன். அவனை ஏதாவது கேட்டா போதும் பத்து will come. Janaki, he is just a child, Janaki. Let him be. But check his WhatsApp status. Say no to nepotism. Don't misuse power. நல்லா இருக்கு அந்த கூத்து. Hypocrites. Hypocrites.
Ma, the hypocrites, ma.
நான் டீச்சரா நீ டீச்சராடி வந்துட்டா எல்லா வீடியோலையும். ஹலோ.
Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Stay home, stay safe, enjoy your online studies. I'm sure after watching all these netiquettes, all of you will respect others' space. You will respect others' sentiments and behave appropriately.
Thank you, Captain Kumar.
Thank you.
Can you stop screen share now?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And it was a very, very nice presentation, very comprehensive, and a lot of information was there. If all of you liked it, please give some reaction, put thumbs up. Great, great. From reactions, use the reactions. I can see a lot of people doing thumbs up. Excellent. Excellent. I will also put a thumbs up. And I will also do a clapping for you.
Thank you very much.
Great. We have some very prominent, eminent personalities amongst us. I've been trying to contact them through WhatsApp if they would come to the fore. Before I take their names, I need their permission. So I do have permission from Captain Azad. Is Captain Azad in? Principal Officer of Cochin, Captain Azad, is he in?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. In that case, I will call upon our next resource speaker, Captain Viraf Chichkar. Please do your presentation.
Thank you very much, sir. Just one moment. An extra step out here. Very resourceful learners we have, and I'm done with that. So good morning, everybody, and let me first congratulate. I, in fact, appreciate the fact that somebody figured out that the annotation was left running open, and that allowed us as trainers to learn. So train the e-learner is not just about teaching for us, it's about learning. So thank you so much. Everybody learns from each other. That's the whole idea of knowledge sharing. If I could now have a 40-minute slot for my presentation, and it's going to be a quick chat on useful applications, apps, more commonly known as apps, websites, and other tools for the e-learner. So we'll take it ahead from here. I trust my screen is visible. My audio is available.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Good quality, loud and clear.
Okay. We're just trying to do a comparison. On the left, you see the gurus of yore. You see our first vice president and then, of course, President Dr. Radhakrishnan, the birthday of whom we celebrate as Teachers' Day. And the arrow says everything about the guru below him. And on the right are the new age gurus. So let's just approach the new age gurus. We know a lot about the gurus of Europe. We'll give it a shot about the new age gurus getting with them. Okay, it's not a poll, but we have a lot of text conversation going on the chat. Just a small request, if everybody can write what they think is the name of the largest university in the world. Can I just have a bit of cooperation and have the chat having a few responses, please? If you just type in the chat what you feel is the name of the largest university in the world. We can give it 10 seconds. Everybody, just to feel alive. Okay, here goes. You'll get the name and, of course, the brand of the largest university in the world coming up on your screen right now. I don't think most of the participants on this Zoom platform and a lot more on the YouTube platform would disagree that WhatsApp University is by far the largest university in the world these days. You know, with the tagline, where ignorance is bliss. So let's move along on how effective WhatsApp University is. I'll just introduce you to a WhatsApp professor coming up in the next slide.
Here's how you make brown parents believe literally anything. You're going to start with a plain background and write whatever you want, but just make sure you write it in this font. That's crucial. Now mention any religious text and talk about body, mind, spirit, or something like that. And make sure that you mention a Harvard scientist helped confirm ancient wisdom, because we love those headlines. Don't actually mention anything about the research or the wisdom. Just make sure you say it was done by Harvard. Now make a diagram that looks scientific and religious at the same time and throw some Sanskrit on there. Don't worry about accuracy. Beautiful. Now mention some chemicals. I chose Kanye and Drake's name and made them look like compounds. It doesn't matter if they're real or not. Our uncles and aunties have PhDs in science, but that's no match for WhatsApp. Now pull in some pictures of pines and nuts or leaves or whatever and just say how they're generically good for you. Be as creative as you want. Don't let reality hold you back now. But do make sure that you draw arrows and circles so they know what to look at. Now it's imperative that you insult Western medicine and culture at this last part. You know the drill, 3 dots, 3 exclamation points, cite your sources and make the image quality a little worse. And that is perfection.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could join me in giving a thumbs up for this beautiful creator, you know, the WhatsApp guru, I would love to see a few reactions of thumbs up. We have to give credit where it's due. Amazing WhatsApp professor. You can't deny the fact, the effectiveness of WhatsApp. Personal experience I can share. I have, of course, like all of us, long-standing relationships with my classmates. Classmates who I know were caught copying in their biology paper back in school. Today, thanks to WhatsApp University, content कुछ भी हो, reach, downloading, amazing WhatsApp का, you know, today they are experts on vaccines, they are expert on virus, they are expert on cytokine storms, sorry. They are absolute experts on COVID-19 thanks to WhatsApp University. So now we'll go on to the true gurus. We're talking about applications in the very beginning. The simple reason I've kept the kitchen quiet today because of the webinar, so good excuse for the wife to use Swiggy to get pizza. Or let's say, for the ones who are seeking a spouse, you have Bharat Matrimony. In fact, I am keeping an eye on the clock here because at the end of 40 minutes, if I don't comply, I have an app here which I know Captain Shivangi is going to use on me, and he's going to buzz me this way. There's an app for telling, okay, time up. So we'll just talk about the apps. Of course, there are just a few sample apps. And please understand that when it comes to learning, we're trying to share as much as possible to help candidates learn, not just for examination purposes, but to help you ease out your workload, be more, have more operational efficiency on ships. So these are just a few apps. It's just a sampling, very honestly, just a sampling of over an hour's effort of a few apps. I have, of course, focused more basic one, first ship cadet, or even a rating, who needs to understand IMO signs and symbols before he goes on ship. There's no sense, having the sticker on, glowing in the dark to IMO performance standards, and you not knowing what it means. So there are simple apps, very basic apps. You have apps giving you all-in-one solution. On the right side, we see the nautical almanac, ASTM tables, the Hinship tables, in fact, and the tide tables, all available on one single point app. With your job on board, say the navigation calculator app, it's a multitasking app, chart plotting, it even focuses on theory. There's a misconception that people who use apps will lose their basic skills and theory. I beg to differ. It encourages them to go back to their basics. It encourages them to use traditional methods and stay in touch regardless of rank or experience. So you can see that along with those calculators, there is a theory section as well. So the apps will only supplement the current traditional knowledge. It will not replace it. It can live in a parallel space. The center one is, of course, one of the favorite ones, where it is not just study, but it is also testing and assessment, self-assessment. In these COVID social distancing times, you don't really have the benefit what we had of peer study, each one doing a group study and peer review of each other. So you can take the help of the app, check your ROR knowledge. The app allows you to study it, memorize it, test yourself. You can see it's question number 38 of 235. And most of these apps, more or less all of them are free, or few of them may have a marginal cost in app purchase or something, but a very nominal fee. But we focus more on the free apps. Coming up to the second page, like I said, you can go up from a very complex, draft survey and oil VCF calculation apps for chief mates of wet and dry vessels, or it could be a basic one, first ship cadet, or even a rating who needs to understand IMO signs and symbols before he goes on ship. There's no sense, having the sticker on, glowing in the dark to IMO performance standards, and you not knowing what it means. So simple apps, very basic apps. You have apps giving you all-in-one solution. On the right side, we see the nautical almanac, ASTM tables, the Hinship tables, in fact, and the tide tables, all available on one single point app, giving you a lot of data on a click of a button. Then there are apps which a lot of us were not aware are provided by stakeholders. So whether it's DNV, Lloyd's, whether it's Shell, all of them have apps, and they have interactive apps like checklist. You have an ISM and ISPS pocket checklist. You have a port state control checklist. You have a fire safety checklist, LSA checklist. All those things, of course, they don't replace your own company's ISM checklist and policies. That is the parent of your procedures. But they definitely supplement. For a quick check, you can use these to maximum. You have Lloyd's involved, you have DNV involved. So, the reliability of the app is predetermined. And it's all there, it's all available for free. And coming up to the last section of apps, or rather last sampling of apps, is you understand you don't have to limit yourself to apps which are simply related directly to maritime subjects. How often do you regret having forgotten your scientific calculator at home in your next tenure? Please download, you have a calculator, please download a scientific calculator app. A lot of us rely on making our own Excel programs, with conditional formatting and formulas and everything. And we just borrow somebody else. Why not develop something for your own self? Keep an app which teaches you, has tutorials on Excel. The right one is, of course, my favorite. A lot of my seniors and colleagues on the MPG group have seen this and know I am a strong advocate of this app. You understand something. Why is a sextant still carried on board? It's out of SOLAS a long time. It's not really through SOLAS, but the voyage planning convention, which needs multiple means available for position monitoring. Now, you may have two GPSs on board. What happens if there's GPS spoofing? What happens about the common power supply? What happens when the 24 volt DC circuit board catches fire? Sparks out, and everything goes for a blink. Now, what do you do then? The app on the right is something called GPS test by an app developer called Chartcross. On a simple basic, the cheapest Android phone today is something like 4,000 rupees. On a simple Android phone, you can download a 4 MB app, which will track not just GPS satellites, it will not just track Galileo, the Chinese Beidou or Compass. Definitely. So in the Q&A session, we can discuss all that. It's called GPS Test by Chartcross. The developer is Chartcross. The name of the app is GPS Test.
For the benefit of everyone, I'll write it in the chat.
Yes. So I'll just do it in the Q&A, sir. I'll just do it in the Q&A. All of these, sir. This thing. Thank you so much, sir. Just appreciate if everybody can just wait till the Q&A, and we will definitely address all of these, and we'll share all the information here and in future also. MTG is always open for such queries. Getting back, again, how many of you believe in the chat, if you could write, I believe that, say squat, or give a thumbs up. Squat is the most important factor for calculating dynamic draft. It influences the vessel the greatest. Once we are done on that, let's see what's the reality. Example, dynamic draft from the vessel is based on a lot of factors, not just squat. I'm just talking about 2 here. As an example, I've taken a ULCC beam 65 meters. I can take a small bulk carrier with 32 meters, and still the data holds good. CB of 0.75, speed 6 knots. Now, this is what the squat value is at 6 knots for ULCC. And remember, squat is, for this kind of vessel, it's going to be by the head. It's a trimming motion by the head. Now, conversely, how much do you think if this vessel heeled by a mere 2 degrees? By a mere 2 degrees, and you can't prevent heeling. You can control squat to some small extent by adjusting your speed. But heel, if you have a beam swell, if she did heel by 2 degrees or a rapid high ROT turn, how much do you think her draft will increase as dynamic draft for a mere 2 degrees? This is your answer. By a mere 2 degree roll, it's going to increase by 120 centimeters. That's more than double of what it gets affected by a squat. Imagine a 5 degree, this figure goes up to 3 meters. Even for a smaller vessel, this figure would have been somewhere close to 60, 70 centimeters, just for a 2 degree roll, a very much smaller vessel. Now, this is what I'm saying, that the app which I investigated was fantastic, great effort, beautiful, but it's incomplete. It talks about UKC calculations, talks about dynamic draft, and it's got a pro version also, a paid version. It's a fantastic effort, but unfortunately, it leads the fresh deck cadet to believe that squat is the whole and soul of dynamic draft and UKC calculation. So that is one kind of typical example where the app has to be used with caution. Use it, but know its limitations. Talking about downloading apps, points to remember: the app developer should be an individual or established of some known repute. We saw, class societies, our own local publication house, our training centers, or simulator providers. These are reliable software developers. This thing. See the age of the app. It needs to be there for a long time. See the number of downloads. If you see 500 people download, don't be the 501st guy. Wait a day or two till it picks up. Check the reviews. Again, compare apps on the same subject. You may find something better. Don't be satisfied with the one app that you've downloaded. The size of the app is important. I don't expect freshers in this market where they are struggling for jobs. I don't expect you to buy a big, capacity, expensive mobile phone. So apps which are smaller are definitely easier to run, easier to store. The ones which work offline, like that GPS test, are added bonus. Pay attention when you are downloading first to the frequency of updates given for or revisions. Too few means that the developer is not really interested. We put a product up in the market, to gain popularity. Now he's not maintaining it. Now that is a problem. It is not up to date with updated knowledge. It may have cybersecurity flaws because there are viruses coming each day, and I'm not talking about the COVID time. Okay. The ones which are too frequently updated, of course, have a problem that there were too many glitches in the first place. So he has to keep on sending, he or she, of course, has to keep on sending a lot of updates. So beware of those types also. Do cross-check the contents of the app. Please, I just showed you an example. Cross-check it with other means, other sources. If they are calculating apps, please take the effort of manually doing the calculation once or twice to see if everything is on order. And just remember, don't go blindly by reviews. It's a new app. Somebody who's developed it in an MTI may just get all the students to say thumbs up. But that doesn't mean that 4.5 with 500 reviews is always a safe app. Always use apps with diligence and caution. I'll just request our host for the day, ARI, to put up the poll which I'd share. If the poll can be shared, Mr. Ankit. Okay, I would just request all the ladies and gentlemen on the participants, if you can just take a quick poll, just take a vote. And we have our first guy. Okay, we see the polls running, and we'll keep it for a few seconds more. And we can have a countdown of 10 seconds where we stop the polling, or we'll let it go for a while. Let's give it a full minute. Just good time for me to check the clock, okay, on schedule. And there goes a minute to the poll for revisions. Too few means that the developer is not really interested. He put a product up in the market, to gain popularity. Now he's not maintaining it. Now, that is a problem. It is not up to date with updated knowledge. It may have cybersecurity flaws because there are viruses coming each day. And I'm not talking about the COVID time. Okay. The ones which are too frequently updated, of course, have a problem that there were too many glitches in the first place. So he has to keep on sending, he or she, of course, has to keep on sending a lot of updates. So beware of those types also. Do cross-check the contents of the app. Please, I just showed you an example. Cross-check it with other means, other sources. If they are calculating apps, please take the effort of manually doing the calculation once or twice to see if everything is on order. And just remember, don't go blindly by reviews. It's a new app. Somebody who's developed it in an MTI may just get all the students to say thumbs up. But that doesn't mean that 4.5 with 500 reviews is always a safe app. Always use apps with diligence and caution. I'll just request our host for the day, ARI, to put up the poll which I'd share. If the poll can be shared, Mr. Ankit. Okay, I would just request all the ladies and gentlemen on the participants, if you can just take a quick poll, just take a vote. And we have our first guy. Okay, we see the polls running, and we'll keep it for a few seconds more. And we can have a countdown of 10 seconds where we stop the polling, or we'll let it go for a while. Let's give it a full minute. Just good time for me to check the clock, okay, on schedule. And there goes a minute to the poll. Mr. Ankit, thank you. Can we share the poll results, please? Okay. Laptop, yes, definite benefits, but we may not have we may have a situation where everybody does not have access to it. As expected, either I like both is there. Mobile phone is popular these days. 20% is reflective, but I think most of them have opted for either I like both. And of course, the good old textbook, people who have traditionally studied with textbook, white book, and the notebook, other than COVID forcing us into the situation, yes, they will be comfortable on the platform that they have been using for decades. So we respect their views as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Ankit. I will shut the poll. Coming to the next slide and the relevance of this poll. We see laptop is a popular option, and I've got a few of these must-have options for e-learners on the screen. There's a little, this is, a mixed audience of seniors, juniors, people who have been blessed to have collected financial resources over the years, and we have some freshers who are struggling, particularly in this environment for finances. So we'll discuss both the extremes. Now, you could have a laptop. What is on display on the left side of the slide is in fact a hybrid laptop, a touch screen which folds over, flips over, can be used as a tablet as well. That's high-end stuff. The one next to it, it's amazing, and it's reflective of what the world is today. A smart TV is definitely a smart product, but when I Googled up, Google is our source, our Bhagwan for these images. When I Google up smart TV for students, I could not get a single image where a student was using a smart TV, which is a little sad. It was a very good tool for this thing. I'm sorry that I have to put smart TV with the user using entertainment apps. Yes, that's what's meant for. But a smart TV is an excellent tool for users. We'll see it a little later again when we discuss this. For learning, a projector, of course, and there you see the first tablet which was launched way back in 2012, made in India tablet for use in the universe. It was called Akash, and it was pushed through into universities and training this thing. So that's the Akash for you. And of course, for our younger boys and girls who are may not, they may have a laptop, but they don't have it right now in the institute, or they're stuck someplace in COVID, and they have budgetary limitations. Of course, the phone on display and swinging around cost about 1.5 lakh. It's a foldable display phone, but from a smartphone, you don't have to opt only for that center image where the smartphone is linked to a projector. But that is the best replacement. Everybody, and I agree with Captain Kumar, where he said a laptop is the ideal scenario to learn, ideal scenario to watch a presentation, but everybody can't afford a laptop or may not have access to a laptop right now. You can use a projector device, so you can project it to a big screen. And if you have budgetary constraints, on the right side, you see a very cheap device available off the shelf, 200 rupees from e-commerce sites. It's a simple cardboard and plastic lens device called mobile phone screen magnifier, and it's quite useful. It's 200 rupees well spent. You have to judge from the reviews and everything, but 200, 300 rupee investment, and you can take the benefits of a large screen. It gives you more clarity on these kind of sessions. Another must-have tool for e-learners, again, budgetary constraints, but if you can make an investment of 3,500 thereabouts or lesser, is the tablet pad for writing. If you can see the GIF on the left, it compares what happens when you try and write and take down notes with a mouse, and the ease of writing and the speed and clarity of writing when you use a tablet pad. I will in fact request the next set of speakers to elaborate. He's the one who introduced us to this wonderful tool. Thank you, Dr. Surinder. And now we move on. We saw that the laptop was the preferred medium of studies and everything. So apps are apps, but there is amazing amount of information, freely accessible, reliable information on popular websites. Okay, starting with yesterday's count. Ladies and gentlemen, proud to say that TG and the industry's initiative, yesterday's count was nearly 35,000 officers, seafarers registered on the DG's e-learning platform. We thank and applaud the authorities for taking this initiative. It's a wonderful tool. It's a wonderful effort. The industry members are cooperating on this. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I am sure there will be a lot of thumbs up reactions right now from the participants for having given this. So if we can have a, applause, a reaction or a thumbs up, most grateful. Our DG, really deserves this. Going along, we can go slide and slide and slide about whether it is CMMI's website or a lot of local reliable this thing, but I'm just limiting it to the ones you may not know. There are a couple out here for the nautical and engineering side. Inmarist or the NI website gives you up-to-date information. You have publications. We have our local publications on the e-platform already. They have a lot of apps already, our local publications. They give a lot of verified, reliable information to keep you up to date on the scene. And it's not just limited to shipping industry. Please remember, our closest partner in the shipping industry are the oil majors. Shell, in fact, has something called Maritime Partners in Safety. They have a wonderful site for this, and they have, learning tools where you can go from learning from incidents to LET engagement tools, all free, all easily accessible, all needing very limited bandwidth. So you can go on to Shell, the website. Of course, we have the UKHO and we have IMO as well. A lot of and it's sometimes it's a little sad and disappointing that we see people using pirated products, and even sadder when we see they use pirated, outdated products of documents and items which are officially available for free on these sites. Please check for the official version. That will be the latest, most up-to-date and authenticated, and they are most importantly free. They want to share the knowledge. So please encourage go to these websites, and that's just the gist of what we'd like to go on. And again, it's been touched upon by Captain Kumar, and Dr. Surender ji will also touch upon it. Captain Nigam sir spoke about this. There are a lot of websites which help you develop your e-learning, help you develop your presentations for people who are studying and giving online demonstrations, online submissions. There's a wonderful site called onlineconvert.com. It converts almost anything into anything, a video format to another a video format, a GIF file into a video format, a PDF into a document, a JPEG into a PDF. You throw anything on this website and it does a wonderful conversion for you. Again, free of cost. Same goes for a site, a very glamorous sounding name, but it does the job. I love PDF. So explore these sites. These are safe sites. They don't need registration. So it says log in and sign up and log in and register. You can use the tools without logging in and registration. And you should definitely explore all these. Okay, we're talking about e-learning all the time, and we come to a stage where almost right now we are only on e-learning, but you have to be a judicious e-learner. See, on the left, I have JRC's official, a screenshot, not the manual, a screenshot of the manual, JRC for its 701, 901, and 2000 models of EGDIS have about 6 user manuals. They are beautiful, they are descriptive. Each element is covered in each independent manual. It's got full page screenshots. But again, handling ENCs and AVCS in a JRC machine has a 186 page PDF manual. Feel free to use it. You have it, it's there for you. But are you aware that UKHO and the British Admiralty, all you have to do is go on YouTube and press in the search bar, just type in AVCS and JRC, and there are about 8 to 9 videos legally there. They have taken permission, and all you do is AVS plus JRC, and you will have 8 to 9 videos there. And if you can see this one, installing AVCS update media, a 48-second video, ladies and gentlemen, 48-second video, which you can pause at every step, you can understand, you can replay, you can in fact, do it live with your EGDIS on ship and see if you're doing the steps correctly, accurately. And the surprising and shocking part of it, this video has been there since 2013. You can see the date, July 9th, 2013. And there are only about 6,700 and odd views. It's truly shocking how we are not utilizing the digital platform for this. And mind you, it's not just limited for JRC. There are about 11, 12 models of EGDIS there, whether it is Maris, whether it's Furuno, Tokyo Kaiki, whatever, it's all there. It's all free. You guys are on YouTube day and night, guys and gals. Okay, please subscribe to these channels. It's not just about EGDIS, it's about the latest requirements from IHO, ENCs. Be aware, be alive on this. That's Admiralty TV, that's NI, and of course the Maritime Trainers Guild. Whatever we do today, whatever we have done in the recent past, everything is available on the YouTube. It's all there. You can pause it. You may find 3 hours at a stretch a little difficult on certain days. Watch it for 20 minutes, please. Pause it, restart it again. You can see all our distinguished speakers right now on the screen. A lot of them have taken the time and been present today as well. And we really are grateful for their efforts, and just a little effort from your end as well, ladies and gents. Just the final couple of slides, and on time checked again, so no buzzer for me. And if you are on a notebook, it's good. I have a notebook on the right. I have some post-its stuck on my screen just in case I forget some key issues. But if you are needing an online substitute with all the classes going online, and this is just one product, again it's a Microsoft product, again it is free for most users, but Google has something. There is Evernote, and there are a lot of products. I'm just taking one. You can use something called a OneNote software. You have OneNote for 2016, you have OneNote for Windows 10, and it allows you to have a digital notebook, a notebook where you can make separate sections for different subjects. You can make separate notebooks for each class. You can have individual pages. Within each pages, this is what you can insert. You can insert a simple file. You can type in. You can actually train Cortina, the lady who keeps saying, may I help you every time you open Windows, to understand your speech. You train her, and then she can convert your text to speech, and you can take verbal notes and convert them to text. It's not 100% accurate, but it saves some resources. You can insert videos, you can insert your own voice notes, you can add links, you can add an entire, I can take this whole presentation and add it inside my notebook, my digital notebook. I can take a link from YouTube. I have, DNV has a wonderful video, DNV GL, I apologize, on cybersecurity. I have the link posted here. It's not downloaded, it's just a link to the YouTube, so there's no violation of copyright, and you can keep it here and you click and you can see these videos again. It's a wonderful notebook. It's endless, you can't fill it up. It's environmentally friendly, you're not burning out pages, and it keeps everything at one single destination file. So I would really encourage people to have a digital notebook. You can see today one of the older presentations from the e-trainer already inserted here. In fact, it can do basic maths equation. If you can draw the maths equation or type the maths equation, it actually does the calculation for you. It will do 9 into 4, 36 for you automatically as well. That's a screenshot which I captured from one other website called Marine Traffic, of a vessel going aground at Batu Beranti. I know what is happening in the Singapore Straits right now. So just a quick few acknowledgements. Would like to thank MTG for allowing this platform to share. My colleague at the Fleet Management Training Institute, I was a little hard pressed on time for some other critical issues. He provided me the material for the MS OneNote, took the trouble of making a digital notebook as a learner, though he's a trainer. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, the participants who have spared their valuable time, thank you for being an attentive and interactive audience. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And we can go on for Q&A in the spare time that we have. Captain Nigam, your permission to keep a brief Q&A, sir?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Gentlemen, if you have any questions, please put on chat, and we have our technical team standby. They'll select your question and open your mic to ask. They'll unmute you to ask. Regarding your salutations to him, I'll prefer reactions like thumbs up or clapping instead of writing. Yeah, very informative and all that. Yes, later. Question, answer. Any question?
Yes, a question from Mr. Roshan Kumar, sir. App for Tide Table 1992. I'll have to inspect that. 1992 was the almanac. I will check with the app developer if he has something. We are in touch. He's in fact an MTG corporate member also. I will check with him if there is an app for 1992 table. That being said, a lot of apps which have reasonably reliable tide tables downloadable, and go for a local app which knows the local waters better.
Okay, I have few questions coming up. How to be part of MTG? Well, go on the website www.mtgi.in, and you will have a membership form over there. Students can become associate members and others can become life members. Just go on the website www.mtgi.in. I'll type it over here.
Mr. Mukund Lagu had a question. Can I insert my videos in OneNote? Definitely, you can insert anything which is a file. You can, in fact, don't even need to insert a video. You can use your webcam and make a video live and just it captures. You can insert your own videos. You can insert your own voice notes. You can allow it to use the webcam and mic to capture it automatically. You can put links to videos. There was something about GPS. I'll just need to scroll back, which will work. Yes, most mobile phones, there's about the GPS will chart cross, it will work or not work. Yes, totally agree that GPS, the chart cross test will work on, but the thing is, most smartphones, we have investigated this, most smartphones which cost over 4,000, 5,000 rupees at least have two frequency receivers, maybe three, four, five. My own smartphone has about five receivers. Most of them have GPS and Bidu, which is the Chinese one, GLONASS. From July, Bidu or Compass 3 is global. It is not local. So it is worth to download. You can inspect it yourself. It's a 4 MB app. So I would think it is worth the effort. There are a few questions which are related to orals and MMD. That, of course, can be taken by the relevant speaker as to when and how those will be conducted. I would be sticking only to my subject profile. Thank you. Yeah, port guides are also there. Second, which keeps us ethical and commercial answers. Most to be updated on commercial and technological in maritime sector, just go for the apps which are linked to class societies or linked to organizations like NI, or even the apps which are publications. The apps, even locally, we have all our publications. They've all gone digital a long time ago. They have their own apps where you have the text matter, you have the image matter, and you have links to the YouTube videos for this. So best to stay on these reliable publications. Mr. Arnabdan, we'll just need to come back on this port to port. I'll have some time in the last session to investigate something free of cost for port information, guide to port entry. Scope for incorporating engine simulators based aspects through e-learning by Mr. Ravikant Chaurasia. Yes, I'll be delighted to inform this is being hosted by ARI, so I will take the liberty to speak on their behalf. Yes, ARI, and I'm sure a lot of other simulator developers and trainers are also looking at it. There are options available for bridge and engine simulators to be hosted on the cloud. They're not just options, they are available, they are in use, and yes, a lot of institutes are already training the candidates on simulator with on-the-cloud simulators on a pay-per-use basis. Yes, simulator training is on. The good news is it's on. We thank our service providers for that. Does OneNote have a memory limitation? Depends on what kind of license you have, but you can always store on other platforms like OneDrive or MS Teams or Google Notes, etc. It's all cloud storage, so it's very unlikely that you will exceed the storage operation. That being said, nothing is unlimited in life. Any app on towing operations, we'll need to check that. RTs, is there any RTZ format converts for various EGDIS inputs, Mr. Nitush? The easiest, yes, there are many format converters from RTZ to the other formats, CSV and vice versa. The gentleman who asked this question is very, very EGDIS savvy, I must say. Yes, there are a lot of online converting formats for RTZ, etc. But do remember, unfortunately, eNavigator has been phased out, but eNavigator and a lot of these AVCS software tools like Voyager from Kelvin Hughes, etc., could do it. It was never a marketed tool, but you can convert from one EGDIS format of a file to another EGDIS format using these software as well. It's not marketed very well, but you can import it in one format and export it in another format. So yes, there are RTZ converters available online also for this thing. It's a very very interesting this thing, and I would love to talk to these gentlemen as to why they would like to convert. That means they are very savvy and putting these things in this thing. So it's great to see such a query. Thank you. Which can run EGDIS routes exported by vessels. Some apps are there. There is Transys, iSailor, etc. There are a lot of ECS kind of apps available. Some paid, some free. You have a lot of apps. In fact, a lot of hydrographic offices. The Australian Hydrographic Office integrates with Google Earths. So you can see all of the Australian charts, whether it's paper or whether it is the ENCs. You can integrate it with Google Earth and actually have it overlaid on Google Earth, and you can physically see their chart limits on actual Google Earth overlay. App for earning chart work, lot of them available. We don't recommend one over the other. Please just Google it on nautical side and you'll find a lot of them. Preparing for orals, Mr. Akshay, it's best to record yourself or do peer learning, etc. And this thing, Mr. Arnab, you don't really have to, you can carry EGDIS routes. This is not really a web-based question, but you can easily export routes. Nearly all EGDISs can export route. Let's take JRC for example. You go up onto the file section and in edit, you will find export, and you can export a route in a CSV format. CSV is the Excel sheet format. Okay, you can export and you can import route. In fact, we tell people, please take the effort as second mates to make a good route, because we're not going to use it only on this ship, because you can use it on the next ship. You can convert these into different formats and use it on different brands of EGDISs. You can do it. You just this thing. E-publication software. I think UKHO is a little ahead on most of the e-publications, etc. Though they don't have a very nice app, I must admit. British Admiralty has almost no app presence. They have one which last they published in 2016 to report inconsistencies on publications. But unfortunately, British Admiralty or UKHO does not have a very good app-based system. So I think I should hand over to the next speakers, and we can take it later on, once again in the group Q&A.
Okay, thank you, Captain Viraf. That was a very, very informative presentation from you, and I'm sure a lot of people must have gained a lot. And what I can see from enthusiasm in question and answer, and the way you handle them, excellent, and thumbs up and clapping. Yes, of course. A lot of people before I said are already doing it. Yeah, very well handled. So, gentlemen, and the ladies, we'll have a short break, coffee break, and thereafter we will resume again for the last presentation. So, stretch your legs, have some tea, coffee, and be back. Ankit, can you play the video in the meantime?
What time will be back? You need to tell them.
A short break of 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
India has a proud maritime history. Indian seafarers account for about 10% of the global maritime workforce. There are about 150 maritime training institutions in the country, and more than 3,000 maritime faculties engaged with these institutions to train and groom the students to make a seafaring career. The faculties who are seafarers do not have formal teaching background and need guidance and mentor to groom them. A professional body was needed to share and enhance the skills of the teachers. Maritime Trainers Guild was the first and the only professional body in the country, which is a congregation of maritime professionals focused on training and development issues related to seafarers. With an active president at the helm, and the group consisting of founder members and mentors, play an active role in addressing various training-related issues. Maritime Trainers Guild has conducted various seminars, workshops, meetings, to brainstorm and bring innovative and programmatic solutions to enhance the maritime training. MTG's webinar conducted to address the challenges and opportunities of online training during the COVID lockdown, which had more than 1,000 participants, is a witness to the popularity and reputation of the organization.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to join all of you this morning on web seminar. COVID-19 has taught us one thing, and that is to be connected using technology to the extent possible. And if you think of it, it saves so much of your time and energy and hassle if you have to have this seminar with physical attendance.
The unprecedented COVID lockdown required an urgent transition from the traditional methods towards e-learning. The OOBT team of MTG worked relentlessly to deliver the basic two-day workshop, Train the E-Trainer, which had an overwhelming response from the maritime faculties not only from India, but also had international participants. The overwhelming response and feedback from the participants inspired the team to conduct a two-day advanced E-Trainer workshop. A select group of participants who expressed their interest were trained hands-on to reinforce confidence and enhance their skill on delivering effective online lectures.
Namaste Gurujans and my dear friends. We are glad that our Train the E-Trainer program was very well received by the training fraternity of maritime industry. Maritime Trainers Guild has played a pivotal role in upgrading the trainers so that they can meet the challenge of converting from conventional classroom to digital virtual classroom. Well, in a very short span of time, training all over the world has witnessed a metamorphosis, and this new norm of virtual classroom and live video sessions are here to stay. My friends, evolution in training has started, and MTG is well prepared to shine like a guiding beacon to all the maritime trainers. We are here to share knowledge. Thank you. Okay, we are back then. Let's start with the second session and the final session. I call upon Dr. Surendra to start with his presentation. We have already introduced his topic in the very beginning. Dr. Surendra, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Captain Nigam. Thank you all the wonderful speakers in the session before. Lots of learning has taken place. And once we have learning taken place, it's time for the next step. And we all know that the next step is submitting your assignments, or maybe later as the exam, writing for the exam. But here we are only restricting ourselves to how to submit your assignments, what else needs to be taken care while you write your assignments. All that is put into the next 25 to 30 minutes of my presentation. Let me just share my screen for you. Capt. Nigam, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. This is what I'm going to cover in the next about 20-25 minutes. What is digital presentation about, and a brief about content writing, because that itself is a big topic in itself. Then it'll be covered a few tips for creating good presentations, because you are submitting your work, which you have taken lots of pains and time to prepare your work for your evaluation. Hello, can you hear me, Capt. Nigam?
Yes. Yes. Visible.
Capt. Nigam, am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear and also visible.
Capt. Nigam, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, yeah, it looks like there was some interruption in between. Okay, then we go on to the common digital presentation tools which you might be using as a student or as a presenter for sharing your work. What all it takes to share your work? What are we using currently, and what is there in store for us in the near future? Then I will take you through some basic steps of content writing. That can be very tedious step, because content writing is a task, and many of us, we really fumble on this in the beginning itself, and I'm going to take you through those simple steps which can be avoided. Then there are some simple tips for and the skills for content writing. That is what I was mentioning here. And then before you submit, the final check. So that's all about the contents of my presentation today. To begin with, let's discuss now what is this digital presentation and the content writing. We can say that the content writing itself, it involves great skills, and writing is an art. Many of us, we know many good things, but when it comes to reproducing it, we probably don't do well. And that's where we miss out the important part of the evaluation process or the assessment process. Contents have to be the current one, have to be informative for the purpose. Now, the purpose is evaluation and assessment. Whatever you have put in, that must be appreciated by the person who is going to evaluate it as your tutor, and must be relevant. The digital presentation, some of the speakers have already covered a lot about it. And of course, as I said, there are going to be a few more in future. But currently, the most used presentation tools, the digital presentation tools, are the very old and very handy one is Microsoft PowerPoint. We use Skype meetings for presenting ourselves, Zoom or Geo, and many more which are there. And these all things can be augmented thanks to Captain Viraf, who did mention about live screen sharing and the whiteboard. And of course, also there are new tools which are there. And I hope if I get time, I might probably give you a small demo on that. So these are the various things which are going to be the part of the digital presentation. When I present, it could be in various forms. And the forms, most of the time, we start writing, and that is a regular text. And many of us, we are so hooked to it that anything we start doing, we start making a text PowerPoint first, and then later on convert it to something else. our presentation or our submissions could be in the form of a list of items which probably you want to see from your side. It could be in the form of a table, which is very handy, which is a proof of planning on your part that yes, you have made a table, and tables can be used in various forms, and they can be a good source of telling that yes, you are prepared and you've done a good job about your presentation. Lots of graphics. You saw some PowerPoints this morning, very interesting. My PowerPoints are just plain PowerPoints, but they were very interesting and very catchy PowerPoints. So you can make that with the help of these graphic elements. You can also add today, you can exploit technology to the best, and you can make videos and some sound presentations if it is permitted by your tutor and your institution. And of course, animations are always welcome, and they can change the way you have presented yourself. So that also is possible. But yes, it all has to be seen whether such kind of presentations are permitted by your tutor and by your institution. This is just a beginning and an eye-opener for just to make some small tips for creating a good presentation. Some of them, I myself must have not followed it. Some of you might observe that, but yes, these are some of the important things. Deliver one message per slide. If you are using PowerPoint, be sure that you only create one message by using that PowerPoint. Don't make it crowded one. Avoid full text sentences. That means don't just write and say. So just put limited information into that and then speak for yourself when you present it. Make the most important element in the slide. Make some font changes so that it is catching the eyes of the person who is seeing it, and also the other evaluators who might be in the process. Make some use of some contrasting things to make the steering of the focus of the people concerned better. And this is just a standard, not a standard, but it's a practice that use maximum 6 objects on a slide. And you see, I just followed that. It is just a 6 of these on my slide now. So just try to follow that when you make use of a PowerPoint. These are the common tools for say, which you must have used. Many of you must be using Keynote or LibreOffice. Impress is the name. This has got lots of variations in the market, but more often we straightway come down to, again, the old horse of this, and that is the Microsoft PowerPoint. That's what I'm also using it. But these new things, they add value to it, and you might like to try them out before you settle down for something which you have decided. If you look at the Google Slides, there are some benefits of it which I've tried to highlight here, because this is part of the Google Drive suite. You just need to have and use your Google account for this purpose. The slides, they can have a small range of templates, so you can choose the best which is suited for your job, so you can make it a better presentation. You can easily edit text as well as insert images, because you're working on the big software that is Google. So whether it is a shapes or sizes or images or videos and diagrams, so that is the benefit of this. You don't have to search for something separately. So all those things are available. So this is what is the better part of the Google Slides, which you might like to use in your presentation. This is Deck, which offers a very large range of visual and this is free. Basically, the images and all those things which you have, you don't have to pay for anything. So it could be a possibility that you can probably use and try and probably settle down for haiku tech as well. Then there is something called keynote, which in a brief thanks to Capt. who did mention about a few things, and I'm sure this is going to be also used by many of you in future. And it has got an integration with the Microsoft PowerPoint, and because Microsoft item, so you can easily have maneuverability into doing various things which you want to do with your PowerPoint presentation. Every office, as I said, the name is Impress, and it is really impressive. I have used it for some time, but I settled for my old partner, that is Microsoft PowerPoint, because of reasons for the company I'm using, or rather I'm teaching here. So that is the restriction of using other softwares. But you can think of this, and because this is free, but it's not free for all the stages. For introduction part, yes, it is free, but later on you may have to pay. And of course, everyone knows about Microsoft PowerPoint. I'm not going to talk much about it, but yes, there's one issue here which I would like to highlight, that you have OneDrive, which you can save and share your presentation very easily, which is a topic to be discussed after say about 10 minutes or so, when you when we talk about sharing of your work with your tutor or with your institution. This is Prezi, which is a web-based presentation tool. It is, you need to be logging in for this, and you need to have an account. But you have, again, there are free accounts and of course the paid accounts. I would say try it out. Those who are tech savvy, try it out, and I'm sure you'll find some of the features which are not in others. So you may like to use it at some point of time. This is what I wanted to discuss in a bit detail, but time doesn't permit, and I leave this to you to try it out in your own time and to see how best it is suiting your requirement. So when you share, your sharing of your work with your institution or your tutor can be with the help of PowerPoint, could be MS Word, could be with the help of a video. You put everything, and as Viraf guided us all, that there are free softwares available. Convert it into a video so that the evaluator or the assessor can check it in the form of a video, and that in a quick pace. More often, what we do is using an email, and continue doing that if it is the only option permitted by your institution. Otherwise, you can try out others also. If your contents are heavy and can't be sent by mail, then there are some sharing options which many of you must be using, and many of us who have Gmail account or a Google Suite Drive, you can share it by Google Drive, or you can use a Dropbox, or there are file exchanges available, and there are some which are free, and there are some which for you have to pay for it. So depending upon your requirements, you can use how it is, but you got to be safe from saving, because it shouldn't go to a wrong place and the wrong hands. Well, coming down to a little bit tricky subject, writing your contents and how to decide what are you going to do. So there is lots of things. So there are steps by step. I'll be just taking you through. So first and foremost, in this slide, I want to highlight that what is content writing. As we just touched upon this in the first slide, it is a tool which can be helping you for planning, writing, and finally editing your content before you think of submitting it. Each can include various type of writing, but here we are concentrating only onto the writing for a purpose, and the purpose, you know, all is submitting your work for evaluation. That is your assignments or your term and papers, whatever you want to do it, that can be. So when you are involved with some study, all of us, as our guru, Dr. Saxena mentioned that he's still a student, and of course, so is true with most of us. We all continue to be students. Thank you, sir, for allowing us to copy and follow you. And that's really, we all are students. And when you are students, you take up some study for some time, or maybe some compulsory courses for the mariners. As of now, we are concerned with that. It can be really a big task. And when it is a big task, you have to start on time. And I have highlighted here, I would suggest, and I would always gun for starting it early. What are we doing that? What are we referring to? We are referring to the contents of your assignment. Start writing early. Even at this stage, when you think of doing something, the lethargy creeps in. Okay, Friday go karenge. No, why not today? And why on Friday? Friday there'll be other things. You might meet, COVID-19 is not going to stay here permanently. You might meet your friends on Friday, have party, and the writing, the content writing goes for another week. Start it today, start it now. That is what I would say. Otherwise, it doesn't really get started. So timely start is a very good step forward. Well, ladies and gentlemen, these are the 6 steps of content writing, which probably you might like to change their, I would say, importance based upon what are you doing and how you start. So, but I would say, as per my understanding, I would go by step number 1, the first one, that is plan for your assignment. You have got an assignment, you got a session is over now, and you got some assignment, timings are defined. You need to follow that. So planning is the first step here. Plan, and plan it in full details, not just a small planning will do. Thereafter, go carefully analyze the questions. That will give you the basis of what are you going to write in your assignments. And that's going to be, again, a lengthy process. Make it lengthy, knowingly. Thereafter, start making an outline of your writing, of your contents, and then start looking for the required information. This could be a step which will be taking you places. It could take you back to your teacher. It can take you back to your institute library. It can take you back to Google, or it can take you to some specific information places, which Captain Biraf very nicely mentioned, whether it is a class or it is some organizations like Shell, or there are many more like this. If you are in the US part of it and we are conversant with that, there are plenty of them. Marine Technology Society is a wonderful organization which is believing in distribution of free information. Ladies and gentlemen, you must use that, and it's a wonderful place to know lots of things about maritime. I would say again that is Maritime Technology Society. I've been using it because they also have a DP part of it, and that's my job. I've been learning and teaching DP for last about 14 years now. So I more often end up using IMO and MTS, that is Marine Technology Society. That is where you get your required information. Once you start writing, there is no stopping here, because you will go on till the time you have gone back and revised and seen that your analysis of the questions we carried out is meeting the end result of it. Thereafter comes the final step, and that is the proofreading and editing thereafter. So once you start proofreading and edit again, proofread, edit again, this is a circular way, and you may have to use lots of help from others. And there are people who are ready to be really helpful. I must take this opportunity to thank my PhD guide, Dr. Saxena, who had been really, really helpful for me at that stage when I completed my PhD in 2015 under his guidance. Thank you once again, sir, for that. Plan for your assignment. This is a bit of discussion, and many of this might look superficial, but I took liberty to put all these things here for you because it may not be superficial for you, and some of you might definitely need it. The planning should start with checking the assignment, and I have put in here with worth of the percentage. Not every question carries the same marks, unless it is. So you better check it. Then decide how much time you want to spend on it. Now, there are some experts. I would say I had a few of my batchmates and my seniors who are experts onto it, and they say, no, this is not needed. So they will know how, I don't know by what way, but their guess is to be always right, and they will not spend too much of time in planning, but they're always good planners. Then look for the details, what your tutor is looking for. You have to make him or her happy, for sure. And of course, his or her happiness will make you happy finally, that you are going to get good marks, but definitely not without being very substantial about it, that you have put the substance what was needed for. So this part will pave the way and make you better prepared for that. How many parts are there, and these parts carry how many marks? You do it right now. So if you do it right now, this is going to help you to plan your timings better. Check the assignments question if you have that information around. If you don't have information around, go back. Where? To your tutor, to your institution, and they'll be happy to assist. As I said, they are always there to assist you to make sure that you learn better. So don't hesitate. I have seen many a time people hesitate to contact the tutor back or the institution back, and they do what they want to do. And finally, some of the steps might not be as accurate as they're supposed to be. So don't hesitate to contact your tutor for that matter. Think about what you need to do about whatever we have planned till now, how to complete your assignment and the breaks. Now, breaks are important, not from in between the presentation, but yes, how to break up this and break those into tasks to do. So you made your list, you've broken down the tasks, and now you can take up task by task. So it'll be a better one for you to complete those tasks on time. Give each task a deadline. And before you go for party on next Friday, this has to be completed. Otherwise, not going to go for party. And I'm sure such things, such deadlines will do wonders on you. Thereafter, you can go backwards. This is what, have you met the deadlines? Have you met those dates or the due date criteria? If not, revise. If not, reassess your resources. Resources mainly will be the timing. So the timing will be an important factor here. This is the analysis part of your questions. Before you start preparing to answer, you have to know what does it mean. Of course, everyone knows about after reading the question, but sometimes there may be some ambiguities. So better ask yourself and ask your tutor about it. What does the question mean? And what do I have to do in that to answer it accurately to the satisfaction of my tutor and to the institution who have put me through this learning process? That's an important part of it, breaking it down. I would say as a teacher and as a learner, I have been both a victim and I have seen many victims on this part. People write so many things on the introduction that they don't do the main discussion and they end up not getting the required marks on that. Even for the university subjects, which I have been a teacher for about now 6 to 8 years, and I've been teaching senior people with the subjects like operations, and I come across that they do a lot in conclusion, but the substance in the discussion doesn't meet the requirement. You see the substance here, 80% of this has to be discussed in that. You two are at a very senior level, and when you start writing, make sure that you do justice to the discussion, the main discussion part. Introduce yourself, introduce the question, introduce the scenario, conclude it well, but your main attention must be on to the main discussion, which you have been asked to write about, which you have been asked to give your views about. So that makes a very big impact on to the person who is evaluating your assignment. Get the required information from wherever you possible, you get your hands on. Go to your peer learning, your friends, your seniors who have been through this process, your shipmates, a good source of information. Some of them, they might be still on ship and you might get the first-hand information, what you're going to talk about it. College library, sometimes it is accessible, sure, and you can always do that. Or sometimes you may have to go to the college. Otherwise, of course, Google becomes your final source online, and there are many more, as I just discussed with you. So you have to identify, be in touch with your colleagues, your friends, and your teachers. They will tell you more about it, that which kind of online sources you can use for this assignment. Sometimes The institution itself gives you the guidelines below before giving you the assignment that this is what you can use it. Because the idea is to get the best out of you, not just the evaluation process. Evaluation is just to get the best out of you. This is the step which I said in the beginning that we delay it. I don't know for what purposes, but I have been experiencing it that we don't start writing on time. So I would say start writing your first draft the earliest possible. So that you are on time. Use the outline, then thereafter start filling the gaps. And sometimes a few points might be left out. So when you revise it, you might return back to here for doing that. Write free. Your flow has to be very free. Start writing freely. When you go for the final part of it, when you go for proofreading, probably that will be the time to come back here. Otherwise, don't just copy and paste. That's not going to help you. You start writing freely, and remember, you are the best. You can do it. You can do it better than what is written onto even Google or other places. You will find the best is sometimes, this is my option, that some conclusion may be written that, okay, what I have learned, what is the conclusion of this? So I start jotting down that in a very rough way. Some people don't like it. Some people say, no, conclusion has to be the last one. Of course, after you have written the full paper, then you go for conclusion. But ladies and gentlemen, I leave this good decision to you because you are the best judge. If you feel a brief about conclusion you write now is going to help you, do it, because you can always amend it. It is still in your hand before you have submitted it. The introduction. Some people find it very easy, but I would say it's not an easy task. It's the hardest to write introduction because you have to probably look at everything what you have written and then introduce that so that it leaves a lasting impression onto the person who's going to evaluate it. It's not a simple thing. Introduction is given 10%. You be very crisp about it, but be very specific about it so that you know and you tell your evaluator, this is what I want to say in the next few pages or next probably a couple of pages. That's what you need to do. Don't spend too much of time in making the draft perfect, as it will change very often. You know it, why it will change, because every time when you do something, it's going to change a few things. So start writing. The next step, excuse me, is the fine tuning of your material. The fine tuning might take long time, as you might perceive. You might think, abhi to khatam ho gaya, likh diya hai. It doesn't take too much of time. But remember, the final finishing sometimes take more time than what you spend time on reading. And these days, many institutions, many universities, and most of the higher education places, they are not interested in what you've written, where you've written. It must be meeting their requirement. And the requirement is that it must not be a plagiarism job. If it is plagiarism, you don't get into the good books at all, and you don't make it what you have done for. Even if you spend lots of time doing that, even collecting a material which is plagiarism material will take time. You are spending your resources. I would say don't do it. Start writing it. And free flow. Put the free flow in practice, and I'm sure you will do much better job in a few days of time. Leave the writing for a day, and thereafter come back to it, and you'll find, ye kya kiya maine? I should have done this way. So definitely you're going to amend it and make it better, and that is what I call it a fine tuning. I'm sure your way will be almost the same, but you could be different because you don't want to leave it for a day. Maybe you want to leave it for lunchtime, and after lunchtime you want to revert it back again. That I leave it to you. And of course, many a time we have to prepare a list of bibliography. So later on, it becomes difficult, ladies and gentlemen. I would say start making the note when you are writing it. If you refer something, jot it down. And if you find it is worth reading later, write down that also for your message, for your information. So bibliography is an important part in many cases. Of course, for you, sometimes it may not be of that big importance. But I would say keep that in your mind, that you have to prepare a list for reference. Last part of it is, this is the second last, edit and full proofing. Full proofing is a process. Without that, you can't think of moving ahead before you submit. So again, here I will draw your attention to the three important parts of the introduction, the conclusion, and the reference list. You have to have a good understanding of this, because introduction is what you are aiming at impressing your evaluator. The conclusion is again what you feel about the whole write-up. And sometimes a wrong conclusion can put you in trouble because you did not see what you have written and you're concluding something else. This is a pitfall. So don't do that, at least for your small write-ups, which you are going to do it. If it is a big write-up and big things, of course, many people end up doing such kind of mistakes. I need to check then, have I arranged my stuff logically? Sometimes even for chapters, sometimes even for paragraphs. Once you read it second time, you will realize ये paragraph से पहले होना चाहिए था. I should do it. I should change it again. That's the time to change it and rearrange it. And I'm sure you will love it. Once you start doing it this for yourself, you will love it because you're doing it for yourself at your pace and your timings. So I would say start doing it. And when you do it, you will feel a sense of satisfaction, a great satisfaction indeed. And a good way to check it as I do it. This is my practice. I read it aloud as I'm doing it now. So if you do it reading aloud, you'll find, oh, I make so many mistakes. And you will find that's the learning point for you and most of us for that matter. So always use your own words, that is, should be free from plagiarism. And wherever you use some sources, like there's these free sources, which I just mentioned, Captain Virat mentioned, and many of you already must be using such resources, be kind enough and be very, very forthcoming to acknowledge all these sources for yourself, because that shows that you are ethical. Netiquettes ka use kijiye usme jara. And is your assignment now well presented? That's what you need to check it. If well presented means you have seen all kind of whatever you needed to make it look better, to make it look crisp, make it containing everything what you wanted to do. That is what you are going to check in the editing and proofreading part of it. The last part of this is checking for the details. Checking for the details is English is a language which most of us have studied as a second language for us. Those of you have the first language, and of course you'll be doing much better, but people like me who started learning English in the 6th standard onwards, so it was difficult for to go in for. So the first time is always not the right time. So I will have to do it again to take it whether I've done it correctly or not. Don't just use a spell checker. Is going to be misguiding you. You have to do lots of things in the spell check, grammar, punctuations, and all these things. So spell check is not just going to be helping you for that matter. Thereafter, you have to check, and this is really speaking in true sense may not be applicable to you. Why I'm saying so? This is APA referencing. That APA referencing is for actually the American standard, basically, and more often used for higher studies and researches. Of course, you can do it. This will be appreciated by your tutor, by your organization, because finally, your organization is going to put your work sometimes maybe for references and maybe for other things if it is a good work, and it's going to draw lots of attention worldwide. So if you follow the international standards, it's always better. That raises your level again. So I would say raise your level. Use APA referencing wherever possible. And any differences, any issues, you can always refer the net, and I'm sure you'll get more information. You can contact the Maritime Trainers Guild, and the teachers here would always be happy to assist you for that. Then page numbering, of course, sometimes can be very tricky, and be very careful that you numbered it right. Sometimes the organization gives you how to number your pages. Many organizations say it has to be on the right-hand corner top. Sometimes people say it can be anywhere. But if you number the pages, this should be the right one. And in your references, in your table of content, they must be matching. Otherwise, again, it takes you back to a bad presentation, which probably you may not like to that. Also important, I was referring to some of the prominent colleges where I'm a visiting faculty for the MBA students. And I found a fantastic assignment presented online. And when I started doing it, I found there is no ID, and there is no name. I don't know how it was submitted. Of course, it was easy to trace because it was submitted online, but then I can't do that. It has to be done by the university. So they had to go back, and it took more time to track such things. So make sure that you have put all your details as it is required to be. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we finish this topic, I'm sure I have more material for you, but I won't be taking you through that stress because it's already my time supposed to be getting over. But I will definitely look for the tips and the skills which you might follow as a content writer which might be helpful. And sometimes if it is not helpful, like it's preparing you for the job for a later stage, that time you can look for the information more in details. So the tips and skills are something like you have to have your text easy. You don't have to be a big time English speaker like some of our politicians do, and I am not going to name them now because it's not a platform for that. But when he speaks, half the public won't understand. Those who understand, they are also scratching their head. ये बोल तो गया क्या बोला लेकिन इसने. So don't be that. Just be very simple English and try make your text also very easy to understand, because the idea is not to prove your English here. The idea is to prove your subject. Writing style has to be good. And I just mentioned to you, start with your basic introduction. Then you go in for main discussion, and thereafter you sum it up. Make it concise, make it crisp, make it factual, and don't move away from the topic. It doesn't mean if your English is good that you go on to some other topic and keep writing and finally you bring in the topic again. So that's not really needed. So be very focused and be very factual about the assignment. That's where your first step of making your questions readable and making your questions more known to you will help you here. Keep your content very simple. Keep in the direct speech. This is where your English vocabulary and your English knowledge will bring a good help to you. Never put in indirect speeches. Always keep it for direct speech only. Separate paragraph for each key concept. Never mix two concepts into one paragraph. It is not considered to be a wise thing. Normally, before you end up, you must summarize your content so that it is read by the evaluator in the same perspective. Keep the headings or subheadings very clear. It has to be very distinct from the heading. When you go to the next heading or next subheading, use bullets, as there are some. Most of the time I use bullets because they're helpful. Here also I've used it, you can see that. And write in your own style. With you feel it is suitable for the job, because you are the best judge. Others won't be able to do justice to that. Okay, do this way, unless it has been described and prescribed by your institution and your tutor, because the tutor has got a point there that what he wants to bring out of you by giving you that kind of style. There's a reason for that. So you follow that in that case. You must engage your evaluator, assessor, so that he's, in this case, I've just written the reader, but I know who is the reader for you. And sometimes it has to be seen that what are the expectations of the reader. By the time you have finished your class, you probably will be the best judge again. What is your teacher expecting out of you? I'm sure most of us for that matter, have got a hang of it. And by the time we are in a class, whether online or offline or a real-time class, we know our teacher very well. And we know what the teacher is expecting out of us. So start doing that. And that is what I would say the best bet on to you. So that's what I wanted to tell you. But this is a brief last few slides. And thereafter, I will be stopping it. This is how do we achieve what we have seen? How do we achieve it? This achievement is that we have to do our reading. And I told you the reading could be loud reading. Reading could be something which we do today, that you copy most of the material and then put it in a place and then start putting into the shape which you felt is right for your assignment. Make sure that you're going to actually use it, the reading list which you have done, because when you're making the list, there are lots of things floating around in your mind. Oh, I want to do this, I have to do this, and I have to do the summation part of it. For the summation, I'll be using this part. So when you make a list, make sure that you really follow it, because that's the time you're planning it out, and follow your plans thereafter. Because our teacher has specifically chosen for certain assignments and modules for that purpose, and they want to see us coming out of that as a learner. That is the purpose of this whole process, that my teacher wants to see me as a learner, and I must satisfy him or her as this, yes, I have learned the topic which they told. So the part of it which I would emphasize here is written again in blue color here. Not just the material which you have with you or the institution shared with you. I would always say get your hands lay on to the other resources and try and read it. This is definitely going to give you dividends, and ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to help you and prepare you for your further job. As Captain Kumar has been emphasizing on to being a good, successful person. So interview sometimes becomes that first stage. And sometimes very good people, they bungle onto the first part of the interview because they have missed out onto something important here. So that's what reading some more information are going to be interesting for you and going to pay you rich dividends for this. You have to work your plan, make your plan and work your plan, and keep checking, keep yourself into your schedule. Are you following the schedule or not? Captain Viraf and Captain Shivangi, as they have been talking about an app. So I hope they are not going to use that app on me now because my time also must be up. But it's saying when your time is up for doing some job, so your phone or your tablet will warn you, hey, my friend, you haven't done what you're supposed to do. Stop today's party, stop today's outing, be at home, it's COVID, and get on to your job and complete it because your schedule is saying so. So a reminder always helps. So keep your reminders very strong and follow them. Plan your time, keep the pace with the schedule you made. Now here you have to be realistic. Don't sleep over it. Don't schedule a writing session for the weekend. As I just told you time and again, I'm repeating it here, and that's the reason I highlighted in blue color. Never schedule your writing session. Do it now, do it today, and start doing it. And that's what I would say, because as I said, you may have some different priorities coming up. Friends might call you. Of course, there might be some family issues also as well. So you have to keep a good time at your hand. This is the last part of my presentation, and I'm saying ask for help. Whenever you need it, ask for help. And remember, your tutor wants to help you. Your institution wants to help you. They want to see you better. And no one is going to deny help. You might not get the response the same way as you expect it now, because your teacher also might be having some assignment to do or some follow some schedule. So they will come back to you, but never shy away. Ask for help. That's what I wanted to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you found these a few slides, what I presented here, useful. And I want to see some of your presentation doing some international uploads and bringing laurels to you and to your institution and to us as the maritime fraternity. Thank you, everyone. And I'll be happy to take questions if you have something after this. I'm stopping my presentation here. Over to you, Captain Nigam.
Thank you, Dr. Suren. Thank you so much. Well, throughout your presentation, we were all quite transfixed, and especially those who are working on projects and thesis. This was wonderful for them. Well, three highlights from your presentation. First of all, काल करे सो आज का राज करे सो अब पल में परले होएगी भवरी करेगी कब. That was your tagline. And then excellent. The entire thing you rotated on 3 points: introduction, main body, and conclusion. So of today's event, I started the introduction. The main body was filled by 3 wonderful speakers on netiquettes by Captain Kumar Haldorai, on apps by Captain Virat Chijgar, and on presentation and content writing by Dr. Suren. And in the end, Dr. Suren said, ask for help. So I am asking for help now from my good friend, Captain Shivangi, to do the conclusion.
Excellent.
Thank you. Signing off. Captain Shivangi, unmute and do the conclusion part of this event.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. And we are finished with our presentations. I hope it was very interesting. If you all found it interesting, please type I on the chat. Let me see how many eyes we get. Yes. Oh, it's really gone viral. It's gone viral, and uh, I meant AYE, but in today's digital world, it is I. So a lot of people have put it as I. Great. So we are achieving our objective of what we intended to start off with. Right. So uh, gentlemen, thanks a lot for all the eyes that are coming in. And now back to the eyes on the screen. I would like to present a word of thanks first. Okay. A lot of effort has gone into putting up this particular first session, the first course of the Train the E-Learner. And I would like to thank all those who made it happen and all the fantastic presentations that we have seen. We hope to keep continuing this because there's a huge numbers of our seafarers who require to be involved in these particular courses. I would like to start by thanking our mentor, Dr. Saxena. Okay, so he started off with a keynote. Thanks, Dr. Saxena, for that. We had our resource speakers, and I'd like to thank them for it. Captain Nigam, Captain Kumar, Dr. Surinder, and Captain Viraf. Excellent presentations, all of you. Thanks. I would also like to thank ARI for hosting this particular TL on the Zoom platform. A special thanks to Ankit and Captain Gaurav for participating in all the discussions we have been having. Believe me, gentlemen, we have been discussing this for over a month and last about 10-15 days almost every day, right? I would like to thank the Marex Media, Captain Kamal, who did a lot of campaigning for it, and a lot of others who, even without being told, did go ahead and spread the word around. Last but definitely not the least, all of you gentlemen who participated very enthusiastically in what I have been seeing in the chats, in the eyes, all that really counts. That's what really matters. Thanks a lot for that. And I'm surely all of you gained from it. And we are looking at very good response to this particular TEL that we at MTG have started, and we have now seen that being the response very good. We have got a lot of calls saying that the notice was short or they couldn't get the invites. Okay, it's also a DG requirement. It's also a DG requirement that you require to be familiar with this in the 11.2, which was already mentioned to you. So, gentlemen, we have decided to conduct the next webinar on TEL on the coming Sunday, that is the 26th July. 26th July is our next one. I can see 300 odd participants out here, but I'm sure there are thousands of others who have probably not heard of it and would like to join this particular session. I would like Captain Kumar to put up the form, the registration form in this particular link out here. So Captain Kumar, can you put up the link for the registration? Of course, we have kept it very short and sweet this time. It's not a long one, just the bare minimums, just 2 or 3 questions so that we can correspond with you and give you more inputs to it. So Captain Kumar, let me just check. Have you put the link? Okay, so we're waiting for the link. Captain Kumar can put the link out there.
Yeah, I'll just put
Freeze
the
the chat.
Yeah,
Freeze the
please
chat.
put the link in the chat.
Yeah, I'll put the link very soon. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, great. Thanks. So, gentlemen, the link would be put up in the chat very shortly. This is not for those who already attended, but this is for you to spread the word around. I'm sure all of you have got a lot of contacts with your peers, and it's a session which, if you have enjoyed, kindly spread the word around. And the next session, like I said, 26 July, 9:30 to 12:30. Of course, we have gone beyond that. It's almost one-ish now, but it was very interesting, so we did not really cut short on it. Captain Kumar, yeah, there comes the link. So HTTPS forms GLE so and so. So please copy that link and send it, share it with all your peers. Of course, we would also be doing the same. 26th, next Sunday, is our session. Now, it's not a presentation as such, but I would like to share something, as everybody else has put up something. Okay, so I would like to.
And Shivangi, don't forget the assessment. All the participants who have registered,
Yes,
will go, for certification, they have to do a small assessment.
yes. So we will be putting up the assessment also shortly. So Captain Kumar, again, I think you can put up the link to the assessment now.
Yeah,
So,
we'll
gentlemen,
do it.
your certificate will be prepared, but based on your assessment. It's a very simple assessment. All that we did in our topics today. So just a few questions on that, and I'm sure everybody will do very well on that. So
Yeah, I'll be sharing the link shortly.
yes.
The assessment link is with Ankit. He can put it on the chat.
Okay, so assessment link, Captain, Ankit.
I have put the assessment link, sir. You can please access it.
Okay, gentlemen, there goes the assessment link on your screen. So on the chat, okay, so kindly click on that. You'll have a few questions, very simple questions, multiple choice questions are there, and kindly start on that. We are going to keep it very short and sweet. Maximum, I think you should be able to finish it in about 5 to 7 minutes. For those who are on YouTube, the link is put up out there on the screen. So you'll have to type it out. You'll have to type it out in a browser, maybe the Google Chrome, maybe your Edge, Firefox, Internet Explorer, whichever browser you're using, you'll have to type it out manually. Those are using it on YouTube. So we'll have a very brief, quiet session at the moment as you start answering and submitting your your answers. I got a query out here. What about those who have completed early before joining session? This is early was just suggestions, gentlemen. This is a test. This is a test. So you have to do it again. Not really, but it is the first time. So that was different set of questions. That was just to understand what was required for the session.
And Shubhangi, we have ladies around and they are feeling neglected. So please include
I'm
ladies.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Dr. Sundar. Ladies and gentlemen, this is for all of you. I normally do not forget, but I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention ladies. Ladies and gentlemen,
It happened. I've just
kindly excuse me for that overlook, and it is for all of you out here.
You have started receiving the response so far, about 4 responses. Please continue and submit your responses.
Very good. The responses have started coming as per Captain Kumar. Actually, in Twitter, they have a common word, "we people." So maybe in webinars, we can have "we people." So that covers ladies and gentlemen. Unable to open the assignment. Have you clicked it? Have you clicked the assignment? It should open up in your browser. You should have your, of course, your internet is on. Kindly, Captain Kumar, please put up the test again. Some of them have not got it.
I will do that, sir.
Yes, certificates will be issued very shortly. Okay, so after we get all the assignments, it will be checked. And this is in digital world, a very fast process that we have put into place, and you will be getting your assignments before you leave, gentlemen. We will tell you in detail how you'll get your certificates. Yes, the test link has been put up again. Yes, after you finish the assignment, you have to submit. And once you submit, we will get your responses. That is being checked as your responses start coming in. That was a query from Ram Krishna. Minimum marks to get a certificate. Gentlemen, don't worry about the marks. I will tell you what the procedure is. I know we are all worried about passing or failing. Don't worry about that. As far as you really make an effort not to pass, I don't think that would be the case. Nitish, I'm very sorry we cannot answer your question with respect to the orals being conducted in MMD, Kochi or other MMDs. We will like to contact the MMD and we will get back to you if we get their reply. Thanks. And CDC replacement, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot answer on that. We'll have to contact DG. We'll try to do it on your behalf. Let's at the moment stick to this particular course. We'll go for Q&A of this particular session a little bit later on.
We have received about 110 responses, probably another 200 more.
Another 200 more. I'm sure it would be coming up shortly. Captain Anand Shingagiri. Hi, how are you, Captain? You are one of our top faculty. You want to know about the e-trainer session. Yes, we are planning to have the e-trainer session as well. So please keep tuned in and we'll definitely announce the next train the e-trainer session as well. Should be coming up shortly, probably by the end of this month or so. I do not have a confirmation of the date, but we'll get back to you. Jayanta Chaudhary, kindly try again because we have already started getting responses. So maybe some issue with your form.
So if I might just intervene, people on laptops, responsible laptops, please remember you have to be signed into your Gmail account since this is a Google Docs based form. On phones, it's not a problem because you're already Android, so Gmail, but this could be one of the causal factors.
Okay. But I thought that was just a link. Do you really require a Gmail account for that?
Yes, to open a Google form, yes.
Captain Tapan Kumar, I did not get the link. Captain Kumar, please add the link in the chat once again. I think maybe he has missed it out because the chats keep going on so fast. Maybe he has missed it out.
Freeze, Ankit, freeze the chat.
The chat can always be scrolled, you know, it can always be scrolled.
Yes, sir, but it goes so high, it becomes very difficult. So we can freeze the chat and we can just keep the form which is published now.
Yeah,
okay, gentlemen, I'll give you 2 more minutes to submit. We will not stop you from submitting later on. We'll keep it on for till the end of day today, till 5 p.m. That's 1700 hours. I will just go a little bit ahead as you keep answering. It's a pretty simple thing. So
if you could, Shivangi,
we have got, pardon?
We will another 10 minutes. We will freeze the assessment, sir. We'll be issuing the certificate now on the Zoom.
People can do the assessment, and Shivangi, you finish your part because Sunday afternoon already beer time has started. I can see beer being served on screen.
So the certificates will be issued on Zoom link. So we will issue it right away before the end of the session.
Yes. So he can, Shivangi can do his part, what he is doing, and others can keep on doing the assessment.
Okay, gentlemen, I've got something to announce out here. Apart from the certificate for your participation in this course, we have got another certificate of appreciation as well. I'll tell you what it is very shortly. But just taking a small thing ahead from what Dr. Surinder presented with respect to content writing, and he talked about communication. Just a very on a lighter vein, this is what Master announced to the office. Of course, it's on a lighter vein, it's not reality. So he says, Fleet Performance Optimization Manager. I'm afraid a corporate capital mobile marine asset under my management has had a positive interaction with an immobile geological mass causing negative continuation of the marine mission.
Aground.
So that's what he's doing. He has announced that ship has run aground, but please keep it simple. Keep it simple, keep it short. So communication is not to be too hi-fi, just keep it simple. So this is, we had sent a form earlier and, again on lighter vein, somebody was asked a question. You was told, teacher asked them to write an essay on the dog, and that's what he wrote. And he submitted it with his picture. Of course, that's not taken as an appreciation. But we had some very good inputs. And believe me, gentlemen, a lot of your inputs came in handy for us, and our presentations were also adding those particular inputs. So thanks a lot to you, those who gave some very good suggestions for the earlier form which we had sent. And we are sending a certificate of appreciation to all those who did a little bit of effort in giving us some valuable suggestions out there. Of course, this is just one of the sample forms, sample certificate rather. And these are all the names. We had 69 very good entries. And these are the names out there. Okay. So you can spot your name if it is there. I'll just keep it live for a minute. Sorry for the red marks below your names. I put it up in a bit of a hurry as I got the names in the last moment. So all of you had sent in your suggestions, and we put your suggestions into our presentations today. So thanks a lot. So therefore, our appreciation for you. Now we are having the test which is going on. Some of you are submitting. And again, on a very lighter note, that small little guy is confused why he got 0 out of 3. And the question was, circle the smallest number. And he circled 1, 2, 3. So he might not be totally wrong. So putting the question also properly is important.
It should have been ABCD.
Should have been ABCD. Yes, there could have been another way of putting it. So he's wondering. And I'm sure we don't have such questions out here. And if at all there were any such questions, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt for that.
We have received 230 response, probably another 50 to 60 more, sir. Once any question answer is there, then we can put this certificate into the Zoom, and then people can download it right away.
Okay, so Captain Kumar, I would first request you to put the link for the certificate of appreciation in the chat box.
Yes, sir. I'll shortly share it.
Okay, meanwhile, as this thing is going on, with your permission, Shivangi,
yes,
I will like to say something which is very, which has been bubbling in me right from when we started. The bottom line of all training or education is finally happiness. If you are happy, everything is okay. And there's something going in my background. I'll just stop that. This is netiquettes which I've learned today.
Okay, gentlemen, till that happens, Captain Kumar, we'll wait for your link on the chat.
Voice cancel. So that was something similar to what was happening in that